never bothered about his maintenance. Once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked that, I see that you are not doing anywhere. You are always at home, always you are chanting the name of Krishna, you are always like busy in practicing your Krishna consciousness in your devotional life. So how you are able to maintain yourself? So Shiva's Pandit said that I do not need to maintain myself. Whatever comes, I will take it. Whatever does not come, it is fine for me. Then Mahaprabhu says that at least you go and take sannyas, because if you are a sannyasi, then at least someone will come and give something to you. But if you are just like a grihastha, who will come and give it something to you? They will think that you already are an earning person. In this way, you will not attain anything. Then when Mahaprabhu told to Srivas Pandit, so he said that no, that also I do not need. What will I do to take? What will I do by taking sannyas? Because these are all things like a material designation, whether you are in any ashram and all, that is not very much required. Then Mahaprabhu was little surprised, because anyway Mahaprabhu is Supreme Lord, but this is like past times. He was surprised. He wanted to know how he is able to maintain himself. So what did Srivas Pandit did? He clapped 3 times, 1, 2 and 3. And he said that if I am clapping 3 times, I am not, and Krishna is not going to provide me meal, then I have taken a vow that I will tie a stone around my neck and I will drown myself in the Ganges. And that much faith he was having that if I am completely surrendered to Krishna, then Krishna is going to take care of my maintenance. I do not have to separately endeavor. And when Mahaprabhu saw that Srivas Pandit, he had so much extraordinary faith in Krishna, he said that even suppose that even if Lakshmi Devi becomes poverty stricken, it may never happen, but even if Lakshmi Devi becomes poverty stricken, still in your house there won't be any scarcity of any food or anything, because you have that much faith in Krishna, that much faith in the holy name of Krishna. So that is how we see, like in Mahaprabhu's pastime also, like these devotees, they have exhibited through their personal examples that how if we are just have complete faith in Krishna, if we are completely taking shelter of Krishna, then what is going to happen? That Krishna is going to take complete care of ourselves. But the challenge is that we do not have that much faith. We have like little bit some faith we are having, some faith we are not having. So we are like sometimes like we have flickering faith, like a little bit faith we are having, a little bit faith we are not having. So that is the problem we are having. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also told that like my Sudarshan Chakra. So my Sudarshan Chakra is for what purpose? That is the purpose for protecting all the devotees. Those devotees who takes my shelter, my Sudarshan Chakra actually protects my devotees. So that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yesterday was Nityananda Prabhu, so little bit you can discuss about Nityananda Prabhu. So Mahaprabhu also comes like with Nityananda Prabhu, because wherever like Lord Ram is there, the Lakshman is there, wherever Krishna is there, Balaram is there, and wherever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there, Nityananda Prabhu is there. So about the glories of Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, like once when he was in Panihati in the house of Raghav Pandit, so once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Raghav Pandit, and in a very confidential way he spoke to Raghav Pandit and he said that this Nityanand Prabhu, he is non-different from me, and whatever I do, it is as per the desire and wishes of Nityanand Prabhu. And even if a person who performs mystic yoga, a very, you can say in a very difficult way, they perform mystic yoga, and whatever they may attain by performing mystic yoga, if someone surrenders to Nityanand Prabhu, then they will automatically achieve that result which a mystic yogi performs or which a mystic yogi gets. So if you want to please me, then you have to do only one thing. And what thing you have to do? That you have to always remain under the shelter of Nityanand Prabhu. Because if you remain under the shelter of Nityanand Prabhu, then what is going to happen? You will also attain my shelter. You are also going to attain my mercy. So this is what Mahaprabhu is saying about Nityanand Prabhu to Raghav Pandit. So now we see that Nityanand Prabhu was always with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after Mahaprabhu especially took sannyas. So Nityanand Prabhu, so it is said that today we are able to understand the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only because of the mercy of Nityanand Prabhu. Nityanand Prabhu only exhibited the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that people like us know that how extraordinary, how glorious Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. And when Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas, when he had gone and he was staying in Nilachal, So were many devotees who had no interest in family life, who had no material attachment, who did not want to do anything, who only wanted to absorb themselves in chanting the name of Krishna in Krishna consciousness. So they all were staying in Nilachal, including Nityananda Prabhu also. So they all were staying in Nilachal Dham. So one day what happened? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he called Nityananda Prabhu and he said that he took him aside in a very secluded place, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling to Nityananda Prabhu that why are you staying in Nilachal Dham? Because if you stay in Nilachal Dham, then what is the purpose for your incarnation? You have incarnated to deliver the fallen souls of this material world. That was the purpose of your incarnation. And if you are not doing that thing, if you are not delivering the fallen soul, then there was no necessity for your appearance in this material world. For that purpose only you have appeared. So now my instruction to you is that what you should do, you should leave Nilachal Dham, and with your associate, you should go to Bengal. That was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed to Nityananda Prabhu. And as soon as Nityananda Prabhu heard this instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he immediately decided that let me go to Bengal. So along with him, few of the devotees, few of his intimate disciples, you can say devotees came, like Ram Das was there, Gadadhar Das was there, Raghunath Vaidya, Krishna Das Pandit, Parmeshwari Das, and Purandar Pandit. So these were the primary associates who, along with Nityananda Prabhu, they came from Nilachal to Bengal. They started coming. So as earlier, people generally used to walk. There was no like these facilities that people used to carry, like any train or some plane they will carry and come to Bengal. So now when they were coming, so there is a very interesting pastime that how they came. So when they started coming, so they were in complete ecstasy. Like Nityananda Prabhu, they were like singing, they were chanting, they were dancing, they were in complete spiritual ecstasy. And they were performing different pastimes when they were coming from Nilachal to Bengal. And they had decided they will come to the bank of the Ganges near Panihati. That was their destination. From Nilachal to Panihati they were coming. And on the way, somewhere like performing the pastimes of cowherd boy, and somewhere like behaving like a gopi. They were like carrying some exhibiting, carrying some matka, and they were selling like cowherd, this cow milk they were selling. And someone like became like Angat, and they climbed on the top of the tree and they jumped on the street, and all were like chanting and dancing. And in that way, they were like traveling. For many miles, they kept on traveling, and they were chanting, dancing, laughing, joking, and they were in complete ecstasy. And sometimes they were going in the left direction, somewhere times they were going in the right direction, and they were not knowing that in which direction they were going. But their destination was that they had to come to the bank of Ganges. So when they walked for many miles, then they thought that let me go and find out that actually where the Ganges is. So let us speak to some local person that where the Ganges is. So and then they called a person who was there, and he asked that person that we have to go to the bank of Ganges. So where is this bank of Ganges? The person said that you are going in a wrong direction. So you have means you have lost your way, and you have to again walk back 2 hours. 2 hours you have to walk back, then you can come to the bank of the Ganges. So when all the devotees, they heard about this, then they looked towards each other, and then they laughed very loudly that we have lost our way. And they started laughing, and they again started singing and dancing, and then they started walking back. Like 2 hours they had to again go back, they again started going in that direction. And again where they're singing, dancing, chanting, they were doing all kind of pastimes on the way. And while doing so again after many miles they traveled, many hours passed, then thought that I don't know whether we are going in the right direction or not. They again asked some locals. Then the locals said that again, no, again you are going in the wrong direction. You have to walk 20 miles towards your left. In that wrong direction you are going. So when again they heard about this thing, then again they looked towards each other, and they laughed loudly that again we are going in the wrong direction. And they again then started going towards the left. And then again they were singing, chanting, dancing. And when this was happening, so no one was feeling any hunger, no one was feeling any thirst, no one was tired, no fatigue was there, nothing was there. They were in complete spiritual ecstasy. In that way, they were like coming to Panihati. So after traveling after like losing their way in multiple directions and all, they were finally able to come to Panihati. And when they came to Panihati, So they came to the house of Raghav Pandit. And when they came to the house of Raghav Pandit, Nityananda Prabhu came. So all the devotees were very much happy to see that in the house of Raghav Pandit, Nityananda Prabhu has come. And Pandit was so excited. He was considering himself very fortunate that Nityananda Prabhu has personally come to my house. And he was like offering all the paraphernalia. He was worshipping Nityananda Prabhu. So as they were doing, so immediately the news spread all around that Nityananda Prabhu had come, all the devotees have come, and all the devotees, because everyone was singing, dancing, so the news cannot like hide, so everyone came to know. So then there Madhav Ghosh came. So Madhav Ghosh is a very great singer in the Mahaprabhu's Leela. So he especially is expert in singing the Vrindavan pastimes of Krishna. So he came, he started singing, and then devotees were performing like different pastimes. And they were dancing, they were singing very loudly. And at that time, Nityananda Prabhu, so he had a desire that he should be bathed with Ganges water. That desire Nityananda Prabhu had. And at that time, when the devotees came to know that Nityananda Prabhu, he wants to be bathed by the Ganges water, so everyone was so happy. So everyone ran to the Ganges, they took the pot, the matka they took, and they wanted to collect water from the Ganges. And they started bringing one by one, and they started performing Abhishek of Nityananda Prabhu. One after the another, devotees were performing Abhishek of Nityananda Prabhu. And when they were performing the Abhishek of the Lord, the Nityananda Prabhu was sitting on a Vishnu throne. He was very nicely sitting, and the devotees were like bathing him with this sanctified Ganges water. And then when they were bathing him, so they were also chanting the mantras, different mantras they were chanting. The singing was going on, the dancing was going on, everything was going on. And after doing that, after this Abhishek ended, so they decided that let us offer fresh cloth to Nityananda Prabhu. So the fresh silk cloth was offered to Nityananda Prabhu. So that was offered. Then his body was smeared with sandalwood paste. So all the paste was put on Nityananda Prabhu's body. And after that, especially up to his like upper part of the body till the chest, so his body was decorated with colorful flowers. Shri Nitai 𝐂𝐎𝐌𝐌𝐔𝐍𝐈𝐓𝐘 Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So his body, especially the upper part till the chest, was covered with fragrant flowers, with tulsi leaves, everything was covered. And when that was happening, so Lord was prepared completely, he was ready. So Raghav Pandit, he took an umbrella, and when Nityananda Prabhu was sitting, so he went behind the throne of Nityananda Prabhu, or the place he was sitting, and he put the umbrella above the head of Nityananda Prabhu. Like yesterday we saw in the Abhishek when the devotees were carrying the umbrella, when the Lord was going on the stage for Abhishek. So that was happening that way. The Abhishek ceremony was being performed. So when that was happening, so Nityananda Prabhu had a desire. So he called Raghav Pandit, and he called Raghav Pandit and said that I want Kadamba flower. I want to wear the garland of Kadamba flower. So go and bring the Kadamba flower. So Raghav Pandit was astonished. He said that to Nityananda Prabhu that I do not have Kadamba tree in my garden, in my house, and especially it is not a season of Kadamba flower. So how can I get this flower for you? Nityananda Prabhu said that you do not have to worry about that thing. You just go and find out. You will get the Kadamba flower. So anyway, it was the order of Nityananda Prabhu. So he went to his garden. And to his surprise, he saw Kadamba flower. And that Kadamba flower was not on any Kadamba tree. It was on a lemon tree. On the lemon tree, the Kadamba flower was there. So he brought the Kadamba flower, and the hue and the color was like very extraordinarily beautiful. And the fragrance which was coming from that flower, so it is mentioned that just by smelling that fragrance, one's material attachment went away. It was like so extraordinary and so like you can say spiritual ecstasy was there in that. So that happened, and all the devotees, they were excited to just see the Kadamba flower, beautiful, wonderful, extraordinary Kadamba flower they saw, and the smell was extraordinary, beautiful, fragrance was there, and the Lord was beautifully decorated on the throne, devotees were singing, devotees were dancing, so all this was happening. And then suddenly they started like smelling that something more extraordinary is there. Some more extraordinary smell is coming. It is mentioned that the smell of the Dona flower. So the smell was coming, and the devotees were looking towards each other, that from where this fragrant smell is coming. It is different from the Kadamba flower. And then Nityananda Prabhu was looking towards every devotee, and he was smiling. And then he was asking devotees that, do you know from where this fragrance is coming? And devotees were not aware that from where this fragrance is coming. Then Nityananda Prabhu revealed that that since you are chanting and dancing, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come from Nilachal to here. And he is wearing that garland, and that fragrance is coming from his body, from his garland, the fragrance is coming. So you should not forget everything, whatever, anything attachment you are having, any thought you are having, says forget anything, everything, just continue chanting, dancing for the pleasure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he is here available with all of you. So just chant and dance for the pleasure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is how the Abhishek of Nityananda Prabhu was being performed. And Nityananda Prabhu, he was sitting on the throne, and sometimes he would also join in the dance. He would also dance with the devotees, and sometimes he would make the devotees to come and dance in front of him. So devotees would come one by one, and they would dance in front of Nityananda Prabhu, and sometimes Nityananda Prabhu would also like participate in it. And it was like a festive atmosphere. So now, because so many devotees were there and everyone was dancing, Nityananda Prabhu was there. So everyone wanted to see Nityananda Prabhu because he was beautifully decorated. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also there. Although the devotees were not able to see, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, Nityananda Prabhu said. And they wanted to see Nityananda Prabhu. So some devotees, what they started doing, they started climbing the trees. Some devotees climbed the tree, they climbed on the branches. But still the branches got filled up, and the more the devotees were not able to see. So some of the devotees climbed the branches, they went on the twigs of the tree. They stood on the twigs of the tree. They wanted to see Nityananda Prabhu, and they were dancing. They were not just singing, they were dancing on the branches, on the twigs. Not just that, they climbed little above, because there were so many devotees. They started and they also stood on the leaf of each of the tree. It is like difficult to figure out. And on the leaf of the tree, they were dancing. And they were like seeing Nityananda Prabhu, and they were dancing there. And some were like roaring very loudly, chanting the name of Gauranga, chanting the name of Nityananda Prabhu. And they would jump from the top of the branches, top of the leaf on the ground. And again they would climb the tree. And again they would dance there on the tree. So in that way they were like dancing. And the devotees were in so ecstasy that all the devotees, they were dancing. And they would go and they would just like circle a very gigantic tree, and they would uproot it and throw it away. In that ecstasy, they were there. And then the rows of the devotees were there. They would run and go. And they were like a group of betel nut trees were there. And they would just hold the betel nut trees, and they would just uproot it, just like a person uproots the bunch of grasses. They would just uproot the betel nut trees, and they were like completely in great ecstasy. In that way, they were dancing. And it is mentioned that like whatever the transcendental or ecstatic symptom which is mentioned, which a devotee exhibits, so all were exhibiting. They were like chanting, they were dancing, they were roaring, they were shivering, then tears were coming from their eyes, then some were like in great ecstasy, some became like very pale, some became very stunned. So all these kind of pastimes, each and every devotee, they were experiencing, and they were like performing. And when some of the devotees, or we can not say devotees, some of the people, because when something is going on, there are like many people become interested. So they just wanted to come and see that what actually is going on here. So it is said that because sometimes it is there when the contagious disease is there, so it starts spreading widely. So when they came, some of the people who were not very much inclined to Krishna consciousness, we can say. So when they just came and they saw the devotees, so just by seeing them, they became devotees. And they started chanting and dancing. They forgot everything, whatever the attachment they were having, and they became devotees, and they also started participating, and they started singing and dancing there. So in that way, all the devotees were performing this pastime, and it continued. Nityananda Prabhu, he stayed in Panihati for 3 months. And for 3 months, this kind of pastimes continued, continuously for 3 months. And in these 3 months, no one was worried about any food, hunger, clothing, shelter. No one was worried. Nothing, no one even thought about this thing. So it was not about just the grown-up people. It is mentioned that even the small children, young kids, even children were so much absorbed in chanting. It's not that they were just passively participating. So they were also very much ecstatically participating in this congregational chanting. Some of the children would come and they would loudly say that I am a cowherd boy. And they would start like running here and there, chanting here and there, dancing here and there. And all the children, they were also saying, they were like chanting the name of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and they were also chanting the name of Nityananda Prabhu. And these small children also, they were running and jumping in such a way that even the grown-up people, so they were trying, like there are several grown-up people, they were trying to control the children. But children were so much in ecstasy that they were not able to even control the children. And these small children, they were very small. Some were not able to walk also, like small kids are there, toddlers are there, some very small are there. So everyone was dancing. And for complete 1 month, they had not eaten anything. They had not eaten, they had not drunk anything, complete for 1 month. So this is what Nityananda Prabhu was exhibiting to us, that this is how a spiritual world is, where no one is worried about food, no one is worried about any hunger. So, but parents are a little worried that what may happen to my kids. So they actually started requesting Nityananda Prabhu only that do you do something. So then Nityananda Prabhu only mercifully he decided, and he with his own hand he started feeding the children. So with his own hand he fed children. So even the small children, and not just that, we discussed like all the grown-up devotees. So they were like uprooting the trees. It is mentioned that even the small children, they used to uproot the trees and throw away, and they would chant, loudly dance. They would jump from here and there. So complete full ecstasy was there. Like we had this Ras Leela which Krishna performs. It is like same thing. Ras Leela means like what a devotees have relationship with Krishna. So similarly here the relationship his devotees had with Nityananda Prabhu. The same kind of symptoms were being exhibited by the devotees. So in that way, Nityananda Prabhu was spending his time in Pani Hati. He was giving a glimpse of the spiritual world. So now this was happening, and one day Nityananda Prabhu had a desire that he wanted to very nicely decorate himself. That the desire Nityananda Prabhu had. So as soon as devotees came to know that Nityananda Prabhu wants to decorate himself very nicely, so immediately devotees went outside, and whatever the valuables they had, whatever nice garments, silk cloths, whatever they had, they started bringing, and they started offering this to Nityananda Prabhu. And all the fine dresses they were offering, and not just the dresses, so they were having the jewelry also. So all the jewelry was there, all the ornaments were there. So all this, the ornaments, so they were not just the ordinary ornaments. So all these ornaments, it is mentioned that it was studded with pearls, with emeralds, with rubies, and all the gold. So it was intricately, it was worked upon, and it had executive designs. Very wonderful design was there. And Nityananda Prabhu, he wanted to wear all the rings in all his 10 fingers. So all the gold rings he was wearing in his 10 fingers. And his necklace, he was like, it was shining like very brightly. His necklace was very shining brightly. He was wearing the rings. Then in his, also he was wearing, he decided that to show his mercy to Lord Shiva, he also wore like 2 Rudraksh on his neck. 2 Rudraksh also he wore. Then he had silver anklets. And that silver anklets, it was making beautiful sound. And then he had like a white, cream, blue and yellow silk garments he was wearing. And his turban was very colored, like very colorful, like blue was there, green was there, yellow was there, and white color was there. So with that, his turban was made. And on his turban and the garland which he was wearing, so it was made from like malti flower, from malika flower, from yuthi, from champaka flower, from jasmine flower, with all this flower which had like wonderful fragrance. So his like garland was made, and his turban was beautifully decorated. And along with that, he was that thing happened, and because he had like the mood, Nityananda Prabhu, he is none other than Lord Balram. So devotees also gave him 2 iron rods, and it was like shining like a silver. So he took one of the iron rod, just like Lord Balram takes a plow, and he took that iron rod. And when the other his associates he saw, all the devotees they saw, so they also decorated themselves like a cowherd boy. They had decorated, and they also took some plow, and they also decorated themselves. They tied the horns, they took the flutes, and they tied their belts and all. And they all decided that we'll also participate in this pastime. And then Nityananda Prabhu decided that let us go out. And they went outside to the bank of the Ganges. So the 2 sides of the bank of the Ganges they went, and there they went to the house of all the Vaishnavas, and they went and they like performed wonderful pastimes there. In this way, all the devotees, they got the feeling that how the Krishna performs wonderful pastimes in Vrindavan. So here they were performing, it's like same pastime, they were performing in a different mood with Nityananda Prabhu. So all this, in this way they were performing all the pastimes. And just by seeing these pastimes, there are many devotees who used to get attracted. So there was a Muslim person, so he did not have any belief in, because we know they are meat eaters, they do not have belief in Krishna or belief in Mahaprabhu. So when one Muslim person, when he saw that Nityananda Prabhu is performing such a wonderful pastime, so tears of ecstasy started coming from his eyes when a Muslim person saw. So when one Brahmana was sitting there, when he saw that this Muslim person has tears of ecstasy just by seeing the dance of Nityananda Prabhu, so he started feeling that I am so a condemned person that although I am born in a Brahmana family, but I do not have any love, I do not have any feeling for Nityananda Prabhu. So that kind of feeling he started having, that Brahman, that see this Muslim person, he did not have any feeling for Nityananda Prabhu, but just by seeing him, he has got so overwhelmed with ecstasy. And so much he has developed love for Nityananda Prabhu, but that love I am not having. So in this way, they were performing all this pastime. And there is also related to one other pastime which happened during Nityananda Prabhu's time only. So there was another devotee, Gadadhar Das. So he used to always think that and meditate on the pastimes of the gopis and the gopas of Vrindavan. So every day he used to take some matka, milk, and he used to go out and sell, just like a cowherd like women. He used to go out and sell. But there also lived one Muslim priest, Kaji, not the same Kaji. Mahaprabhu did that pastime. So that anyway, so he was not interested in chanting the name of Krishna. He was a little tyrant also. And people were afraid of him. So one day, this Gadadhar Das, so out of great ecstasy, in the evening, so one day he went to his house directly. And all the guards, everyone was there. So everyone was like a bit surprised that why this person has come here. And he loudly called the name of Kaji, that you Kaji, you come outside. He called his name. And the Kaji, he was like, he's thinking that why this person has come, I am going to punish him. He has come here. But this Gadadhar Das, he was in a very such a strong faith. He was chanting the name of Krishna and chanting the name of Nityananda Prabhu, that as soon as Kaji came and he was surrounded with his family members, surrounded by the soldiers. So when the Kaji saw this Gadadhar Das, so he became afraid. All the Gadadhar Das was all alone. So the Gadadhar Das said that if this Kaji does not chant the name of Krishna today, then I am going to cut his head. So this he said. And then when this Kaji heard this, he did not say anything because he actually became fearful. And although he was all alone, he was not that Gadadhar Das was having any weapon and all. So he thought that let me somehow or the other manage this situation, this difficult situation. So he said to Gadadhar Das that, okay, Gadadhar, you do not worry. Tonight you go away. So I promise you that tomorrow I will chant the name of Hari. So as soon as the Kaji said this word, so Gadadhar Das, he started dancing in great ecstasy that you have already chanted the name of Hari. You have said Hari, Hari. So you have already chanted the name of Hari. And Lord Krishna has already delivered you from all sinful reactions. And the Kaji was completely shocked that what has happened. He did not even realize also. And after saying this, Gadadhar Das, actually, he returned back. So in this way, they all were in a great ecstasy. They were performing this pastime. And then Nityananda Prabhu, he performed this pastime for 3 months, and then he decided that he will go, and he had a desire that he will go and meet Mother Sachi, and then he went. So in Chaitanya Bhagavat, I'll just read that about Nityananda Prabhu's dancing. Actually, it is mentioned that how he used to dance. I'll just read what is mentioned there about his dancing, Nityananda Prabhu's dancing. It is mentioned that his movements were like flashes of lightning, yet charming and delicate. The expression with his eyes and eyebrows were subtle, and he always kept a mild smile playing on his lips. The movements of his head were expertly done like a seasoned classical dancer, knowing the correct nuances to express the various transcendental moods. Then bringing his exquisite feet together, he began to jump with ease and flowing movements. He was the all-merciful Lord, so wherever he looked, all the men and women felt drawn into an ocean of indescribable bliss. Such was the impact of his benign glance that everyone lost all sense of time, body, and matter, and expressed only an overwhelming joy. This is how Nityananda Prabhu used to dance wonderfully when he was performing his pastimes here. Yesterday was Nityananda Tradasi, so I thought that we can discuss something because actually they came here to teach us that how we should surrender to Krishna, how we should surrender to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it is said that Mahaprabhu is the most merciful Lord because he gives the love of Krishna. And we can say that Nityananda Prabhu is most merciful, even merciful Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he gives us the love of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the most merciful Lord, Nityananda Prabhu. So Prabhupada, I will conclude with Prabhupada's statement. So Prabhupada, there is a commentary of Prabhupada on this song, Nitai Pad Kamala, Koti Chandra Susitala, Je chaya jagat juraya. So Prabhupada's comment is there. So Prabhupada mentions this, explains this. Jagat, this material world which is progressing towards hell, and there is always a blazing fire. Everyone is struggling hard. Nobody finds peace. Therefore, if the world wants to have real peace, then it should take shelter under the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, which is supposed to be cooling like the shining moon, millions in number. So what this is what Prabhupada is saying, that if we want to save ourselves from the blazing fire of material existence, then there is one solution and there is no other solution, and that solution is to take shelter of the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. Because as soon as we take shelter of the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu, all our miseries, all our sufferings will immediately just disappear, and we will also get an opportunity to be part and to participate in the wonderful pastime of Krishna, wonderful pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the pastime which we are reading about Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam. So thank you very much. Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki